Hello, everyone. Welcome to this maiden episode of
One Health,
Jark Academy Radio Channel, or also known as
Jar.
Jark. Nice ba?
Yes.
Welcome. Hello, Mambing. Thank you for accepting this hosting gig.
Talaga
Swerte
naman.
ko talaga.
Oo. Talagang
Today,
swerte tayo ngayong araw na to.
oo naman. And because this is the maiden episode, we have interesting guests for you. And hindi lang basta-basta interesting, but they're the best in their field. We have two guests actually. This is an
Yes.
introduction of them. So, two guests na ito, they're actually a couple, a power couple. But I'd like to introduce ladies first. The
Yes.
lady first in our guest. No, she was from the University of the Philippines and graduated salutatorian in 98. Sinabi ko yung age, okay lang naman siguro yun, ano. She is also an international triathlete, a member of the International Triathlon Association. Hindi lang sila um, doctors, but they're also athletes. A marathoner, an ultramarathoner, and an Ironman competitor. Alam niyo ba yung Ironman? That's
Bago yun sa pandemic.
mahaba yun. May marathon yun na 42 kilometers
Oh
plus
my
swim
goodness.
and bike pa.
Grabe
No, mga
talaga.
8 oras tinatapos yun.
Mhm.
Siguro pag ako mga 12 oras kung gagawin yun. Positivity Project Philippines, she is the co-founder, and she holds a diplomate of the Philippine College of Canine Practitioners, an internal medicine practitioner in also practicing dermatology, hematology, diagnostics, pain management practitioner, research and practice manager, and also research and practice pala. She is the manager and owner of the Arc Animal Health Veterinary Clinic in Carmona, Cavite. That's such a handful and an
Yes.
impressive CV at that. Our
Grabe,
next
no?
guest are also
Oh,
the member of the couple.
yes, this is also another one. He is the better half of
Mm,
our guest.
better half.
Okay,
Okay.
better half. Yeah. Dr. Ken Anthony Lao. He is also a graduate of veterinary medicine. I will not mention the year. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. And he is also a marathoner, ultra marathoner, and at the same time, like his wife, is an Iron and Spartan competitor.
Mm.
Believe ka naman dun, Sir Giselle, ano?
Spartan, mahirap yun.
Oo.
No?
And then he is also a PCCI conformation show competitor.
Show
A
dogs.
canine, a canine agility show judge and competitor.
Mm-mm.
And at the same time, in Mango Radio Vet on Air co-host.
So may
Yan.
meron na siyang experience sa
Yes, oo. So, hindi na tayo mahirapan
radio.
sa
Hindi
kanya.
na,
Oo.
hindi na. At makikita nila. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And Pawsibilities Project Philippines co-founder.
Positivity. Positivity.
Positivity, yeah.
Positivity.
Positivity
Yeah.
Project Philippines.
Pareho sila.
Oo.
Co-founder sila.
Yes, and at the same time, he is also, like the better half, owner of the Arc Animal Health Veterinary Clinic, which is in Carmona, Cavite, and a diplomate of the Philippine College of Canine Practitioners.
Iyon.
Ayan.
Binanggit mo na yung pangalan. Ako hindi ko nabanggit. Yung sa akin, yung isang better half is Dr. Chris or Criselda Lao, and the better half
Dr.
is
Ken Anthony Lao.
welcome to this maiden episode where we have interesting guests and the best at their field, Doctors Ken and
Dr. Chris Lao.
all right.
Yeah,
So
tama ba?
we'll jump right in and enjoy this episode.
Yes.
Hello, dear friends. Welcome to the very first episode, the maiden episode of this. Ano nga pangalan ng podcast natin?
Jar.
OJARC. OJARC actually stands for One Health Jark Academy Radio Channel.
Wow.
Naisip ni Doktora yon. And we're so happy and excited to be here with you today to introduce to you our first ever in this new format that we're adapting in the podcasting format for everybody's learning as well as engagement. We're happy to have Doctors Ken and
Dr. Chris Lao.
the power couple
Power couple.
veterinarians in they're premier veterinarians here in the Philippines, and we're happy to have you. Welcome to the show,
Thank you.
Docs.
Thank
Ken.
you. Thank you very
us.
much.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go straight.
Yeah, because we already did, nakita na nila sa intro kanina, we introduced them more officially and more formally.
Okay.
And I know I don't think we can ever do justice to that bit, but we'll try our very best to make sure that we are up to par
Yes, of course,
with
of
what we're
course.
going to ask.
All right, so Dr. Ken
Yeah.
and Dr. Chris, so one of the issues right now when it comes to um, taking care of small animals, and we want to emphasize our talk today on the responsible pet ownership.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So, what do you think would be the important qualities of pet owners here in the Philippines, and how do you differentiate those families who's taking small animals from rural to urban?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
what do you think about that?
Well, first I'd always say that if you want to own a pet, there are only two things that you keep in mind. That is, do you have the time, and do you have the resources? Okay, because owning a pet is a lifetime commitment. It's a
Yeah,
lifetime
I agree.
commitment on the end of the pet. It's very unlikely, and I hope that your pet does not outlive you, right? So in other words,
You never know.
in other words, you really have to make sure that when you acquire one, you are 100% committed from the time that you get it to the time that it crosses the rainbow bridge.
Yes,
So
that's right.
it's really resources and time.
Time,
That's
resources.
very important. What about you, Dr. Ken?
Definitely also you will have to ask themselves, the new pet owners, if aside from the time, do they have the place for the pets. In our practice we see owners bringing in a large pet and they live in a condominium,
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's mostly
which
in the
that
urban
won't
areas.
work. Yeah, so it's okay to bring in a small pet, but bringing in a large animal or a large dog in a small setting, then
Like a
of course
Saint Bernard in a 20 square meter condominium, di ba?
it won't work.
occupies almost
It's
the
just
space.
cute as a puppy, but of course what they don't foresee is what it
Lalaki.
will be
Lalaki yan.
later on,
Yes,
like in a
yes,
year.
that's right. Yeah.
So that's where most of the problems come up already. I think we made a mistake
Right.
in getting. So you have to
Yeah.
consider that
You have
also.
to, and you really have to plan. You have to
Yes.
plan. You have the pet that you will acquire has to tailor to your lifestyle and not the other way around. Now, for instance, if you are not athletic, maybe you don't want to get a Jack Russell Terrier
No,
and be
yeah,
like
no,
Manny
no.
Pacquiao, right?
Yeah.
Manny Pacquiao's dog is a Jack Russell Terrier.
That's right. Runs with him. Same
Yeah,
distance.
it was
Same
it's,
speed.
it's Pac-Man. So
Yes.
that's a common mistake. You're gonna shortchange the pet as well because
Yeah.
you won't be able to give what the pet needs.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think when it comes in responsible pet owners, I also see the difference between those people who are living in the urban and rural.
Yeah.
What can you say about those people who are living in the rural areas? They treat these small animals as bantay bahay lang. And they don't care about
Yeah.
their health of these small animals, right?
From what we've seen, yes, because back then that's how most of us culturally, I think, see, especially dogs, as bantay lang.
Yeah.
But now because I think since the year 2000s, na iba na yung the change in
Yeah.
the culture of taking care of the pets. So basically, here in the urban areas, we see that they really take care of their pets much like a human baby,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
But
yeah.
in the rural areas, although we're seeing they're catching up to what we see here in the urban areas, but yeah, I think it will just take a little more time that the people who live in the rural areas will actually take care of their pets the same way as the people here in the urban areas do.
Yeah, okay. As far as, getting all the difference of all these things between rural and urban, there are more those people who are living in the urban areas are more health conscious of their pets versus that of the urban, right, the rural areas.
Yeah,
So what can you say about that, especially if we're talking about the zoonotic,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
spread of these diseases coming from these
Mhm.
small animals?
Well, I think mainly because in urban areas, um, people have more access to medical help.
Mm.
I mean, the veterinary
Yes.
clinics are
Access.
everywhere.
That's right.
It's accessible. In fairness to people in rural areas, I'd say probably 20 years ago, they won't even go to a vet. Some of them
Oh.
don't even know that there's such a thing as a vet,
Right.
other than the a
Yes,
very
yes.
old sitcom Okidoki Dog,
Okay,
Yeah.
Oh.
something like that,
Agamula.
right?
Yeah,
Agamula.
Agamula.
Agamula. Yeah.
Oh.
So
Yes.
it's almost as if it's not a career
Uh-huh.
back then. No, but there in rural areas, I've seen, I know of rural areas now that will probably have one local getting into vet school, coming home, putting up a small clinic, sometimes in the
Mm.
house,
Mm.
Yes.
and people actually go.
Yeah.
So what I
Yeah.
think is, because these pets, even if it's what we call the asong Pinoy, the aspin,
Aspin.
the position of our dogs and our cats have really went up the ladder, no, in terms of the family tree. Kasama
Yeah.
na sila. So as long as there's a provision there, these people will spend, even if they'll have to pay for, vegetable, or they pay you through
Yeah.
their chickens that
Okay.
they raise.
Yes.
It's really the accessibility.
Yeah.
That's why the
Yeah.
veterinary practice sa probinsya would be those that formerly poultry,
Right.
Yeah.
yung
Yes.
Yeah.
sa mga
Yes.
kalabaw,
Yeah.
sa livestock.
Mhm.
But now I just came from the province of Iloilo a
Mm.
couple of weeks ago, and I saw that there is really a resurgence, and also thanks to Aga Mulak.
Yeah.
No, there's that feeling. I think tama kayo na when that show started and even
Yeah.
ended, it had a resurgence. Tama po ba? Nagkaroon ng resurgence.
Yeah.
Nagkaroon ng...
Yeah,
There were
it did.
people
Oo.
who actually learned
Oo.
that there's
Right.
such a course.
There's such a course, and they could look like Aga Mulak.
And then also
Yeah.
because of the new RA, no?
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So to let all these pet owners let their pets get vaccinated.
Yes.
Yeah.
After they
Yes.
have acquired
Yes.
them.
Yes, yes.
There's already the Republic Act already that covers that every one of us, you are bound by law to have your pets vaccinated.
Yeah.
I think that would be also one of the issues. Maybe later on we'll tackle
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
Okay. So what about letting our small pets keep them safe in their environment? So what can you say about that? How can you have this misconception that, right now they even sleep with the
Owners.
With the
their
owner.
pets, with the
Oo.
owners, right?
Oo.
And some naman of the pets, they just put them in the cage.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh.
So what can you say about that? Is that really safe for them mentally? I don't know, for the dogs.
Yeah.
If we are conscious on
Yeah.
their
So
situation.
may mental health.
May
din.
mental health din ba
well-being
ang
din ang
animals?
Meron. In
Yes.
fact, under animal welfare, it lists the 5 freedoms of animals. Freedom
five
from
freedoms,
yeah,
huh?
5
Freedoms.
freedom from harm, no, and one of that is the actual freedom to be to roam around.
Yeah.
So in other words, I do not criticize putting them on a leash if you have to, or in a cage, but they cannot be leashed or caged for 24 hours. There has to be a provision for exercise.
Okay.
If it's beyond 24 hours, it's already impinging
Cruelty.
on their cruelty na siya.
Yes, yes.
That's already
If you'll
cruelty.
be,
Did not know that.
very critical about it, you cannot cage them for 24 hours. You cannot tie them for 24 hours.
I did not know that. Okay.
And it's
Yeah.
an actual
Yeah,
law.
I pity those
So
dogs.
that's the second law. The second law
There
is
is a law
freedom.
on that.
What's the third
Yeah.
law? of the five
it's actually
laws.
one of the it's listed as provision in a Republic Act. So there are a lot. Now another example would be when is a good time to leash your pet. The moment your pet gets out of
No,
the
the gate.
gate,
Your gate.
it has to be leashed. Even if it's a kind pet. No, because the moment it gets out of your property, then it runs away or gets hit by a car
Yeah.
or bites a
Bites.
Bites someone,
stranger,
yeah.
somebody jogging. Under the law, the victim has the right to complain, to press
Yes, of
charges,
course.
Yeah.
because the law says you have to
to
keep your pet on a leash
Right,
when it
right.
leaves the house. I know you've heard of people saying that, oh well, I just open my gate in the morning, my dog knows how to get
Come
out and come back.
Nautusan bumili ng pandesal.
Yeah,
Oo.
to pee outside, and somehow it comes back. I get several cases masasagasaan yung pet, and then there's gonna be the whole drama
There's already a
and
dispute
quarrel.
already.
Right.
There's a
Oo,
dispute.
about
Yeah.
Sa
that.
barangay nagpapaliwanag.
Yes.
Oo.
The
Yeah.
owner of the dog would say, sanay yan eh. Araw-araw
Oo.
niya ginagawa yan.
Oo.
But to be honest, yung nakagat, pwedeng magreklamo. And if it in fact became a case, mananalo siya.
Yeah.
Kasi nasa batas.
Yeah,
Yun
kasi
lang
now
ang
we
kailangan
know,
niya
now we
i-prove
know.
na
Oo.
dapat naka-leash.
I hope the pet owners know. Most of the pet owners knows about this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Ngayon ko nga lang nalaman. It's good for everyone. Maybe we
Yeah.
could post it on the links below where we're going to post this,
Yeah.
that the rights of the animals.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
that's
freedoms.
Something we learned
Yeah.
today. The freedoms of the animals.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we also have to emphasize that to the public.
Eh, paano
The
po
five
ang
freedoms.
pusa? Ang pusa na, pusang gala.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, that's a
And-
different
yeah,
Iba yun. Iba.
Well, in our situation, in our culture, we're used to feeding the cats outside the house.
Yes.
Then of course the strays
Yes.
visit you and then
Visit
eat.
it.
Right.
But technically speaking, they're not your pets because they're strays and you're just feeding them. So
And they
there's
keep
no
coming
owner.
back to you, right? Once you feed them. Yeah.
Yes, but the best talaga is to actually get them, and then if you can catch them, have them fixed or
Spayed and
castrated
neutered, yeah.
or
Oh, okay.
because if you just keep on feeding them and then they'll just keep on coming back with new kittens with
Nagtatawag
them.
yan eh. Oh.
So
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
just proliferating lang their population.
Yes.
So one way kasi to be able to handle our rabies situation in the country is to control their population.
Speaking of that, because I know of several neighbors, pasintabi lang po, na naglalagay ng cat food sa
Cat
bawat
food,
kanto.
yes.
Oo.
Yes. Mga feeders. Yeah.
Yes.
Cat
so
feeders. Yes.
there's dependence na nila,
Yes.
yung kantong yung kanto
Right.
dito, may
Yeah,
darating
yes.
na pagkain.
Oh,
So
yes.
there's
Yeah.
what's our take on that? What should be our take on that?
Well, I appreciate owners who do that. Naaawa siguro na walang magpapakain. But more importantly, I think these cats should be caught,
Yeah.
They should.
fixed, and then dapat may mag-adopt. No? Because, I mean, for instance, this particular podcast, I'm sure what we're trying to promote here is responsible pet ownership. The effort will not multiply if these strays are still there. Because they're still the ones who's gonna spread the rabies, the zoonotic diseases.
Yeah.
Nandun pa rin sila.
Oo.
And then they're gonna multiply.
Oh.
But we do what we can do.
Right.
We educate the pet owners. If you're not a breeder, fix your pet. Diba? Don't let them
yeah.
roam.
Another thing is that they go for, circumcising all these
The pets.
the pets. Yeah.
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 Do you
The
agree on
fixing.
that?
Yung neutering
Yes.
and
Yes,
spaying.
yes.
Yeah. Oo.
That's
yeah.
an actual campaign, so they won't multiply. Because cats are induced ovulators. They're like rabbits.
Oo.
So they do not
They multiply
have
really
a
fast.
heat period.
Oo.
That's what most people forget. They're not like dogs and
Yes,
humans
yes,
that
that's right.
you have a menstrual cycle and an ovulation cycle. In cats, the moment they breed, they ovulate. They're induced ovulators like the rabbit.
Induced ovulators.
Induced.
Yan din, hindi ko alam. Kala ko may cycle ang
That's why,
pusa.
Induced
di
palang
ba?
tawag doon.
Oo.
When you think about multiplication, breeding, it's the rabbit that's the symbol.
Yes, that's the
no?
Yeah.
But
Yes.
The
actually,
benchmark
Yes,
of
benchmark,
yes,
yes.
but you can
proliferation.
actually use the cat as a
The-
model
the
because
cat is
the
not
cat
far.
and the dog is the
Yes,
and
yeah.
the rabbit is the same.
Okay.
That's right. That's
Mhm.
right.
They'll multiply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Learning something new today.
Yeah.
The thing
Marami
is,
mga bagay na hindi namin alam.
the thing is,
very
some would
interesting.
say, well, why is nutrients paying rabbits not as common?
Mm-mm.
No, it's because you don't see rabbits naman
Yeah,
loitering
everywhere,
around.
yes.
This is really the cats.
Yeah.
So the campaign of LGUs, no, associations,
Yeah.
homeowners, clubs is to really spay and neuter these
I
stray
heard
cats.
there are mall operators that do that.
The campaigns.
That they spay and neuter. That they just let them loiter in the mall area, especially in mall areas.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna name names,
Yes,
no.
yeah.
But some people will have a different take on that.
Yeah.
Some will say, it's being kind to the
Yeah.
animals. But for some, it's irresponsible. But I
Yeah.
heard they're being neutered and spayed to allow them to.
If they
Yeah.
Roam in
were,
the mall
I think
premises.
as an animal lover, I'd let the cat
Mm.
stay there and see if somebody feeds. But I would prefer that
As long
somebody
as-
gets the cat
As long as the
and
cat
bring
is
it home.
vaccinated. Huh?
Vaccinated.
Yes,
oo.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk also about the mental health of the small animals. Yeah, how do we what's the impact of this mental health?
Kagaya ng example natin, malaking aso and a 20 square meter condominium.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Not
they don't
being
feel
able to roam around.
Well-
So what's the impact to their physical health?
Of course, each and every breed has there's somewhat a built-in, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. So if you get a dog, like what Doc Chris said, you got a Jack Russell and you are not an athletic person, so that Jack Russell is going to look for a way to
Yes.
be able to bring out that pumped up energy.
Yeah.
Now, because he cannot go out or the pet can't go out, he will be destructive. He'll try to nibble or run around and most likely
so
end
Or
that's
up destroying
demolish
Yes.
things.
your
Yeah.
lazy boy
Okay.
and couch.
Yeah,
no?
yeah. Because
That
he's
is
just so
right.
bored.
Right.
He wants to go out and run, but he can't. So now, and then the owner will get mad at the pet.
Yeah. Just
Diba?
like
So the
huskies,
pet
no?
won't understand.
Huskies
Yes.
are fond of walking and
Right,
running.
and walking, yes.
If you are not fond of running and walking, and it would also frustrate this
Yeah.
husky, right? So,
Yeah.
okay. That's nice, no? So, siguro, paano naman pag maliit lang yung pet? And then, no, I'm talking about the physical health of these small animals. No? And if you really wanted to observe their mental health, lalo na pag may karamdaman na, no? Be it small or big animals, how would you determine kung may nararamdaman na siya at hindi niya ma-express yun? Hindi mo, ikaw din mismo
Yeah.
as a person,
Yeah.
you could not recognize or determine.
Alam mo,
kung
maraming
meron.
umiiwas dyan sa tanong niyan kasi ayaw nilang naiisip na
Yeah.
papalapit na,
Yeah.
they have shorter lives.
Precisely.
But I'm interested.
Or maybe they are obligated to, bring them to the vet and
Yeah.
care about the expense again and so forth. So, how would
Well,
We handle
going back, we'll start off with like if you have a small pet like Shih Tzu, Pomeranians, like toy dogs. The tendency is when an owner brings home a pet or a breed like that, they tend to cuddle those pets.
Yes.
Unlike a large dog, because usually you don't. As a puppy, it's okay to. Some of them will let the puppies sleep on their beds and
Yeah.
etc. But if it's a small dog, even as an adult, they still are on their beds. What most people don't know, dogs, their minds work by hierarchy. So either you are their master, their equal, or their subordinate. So in their mind, they have agreed already of who in the household, okay, this is my master, oh, we're equals, and oh, you're my subordinate.
Right.
So,
so may ganun
yeah,
din
may
pala
hierarchy
sila.
yun eh.
Oo.
Kasi that's how the pack works. And since they're in their house,
Right.
they see it as their pack.
Right.
Diba? So that's how it is. The problem is, if you put already a pet inside your house, in your room,
Mhm.
on your bed,
Yeah.
most of these pets end up as equal at best or subordinate yung supposedly master. But the master thinks that he's the master, but really it doesn't. Into the dog's eyes, you are my subordinate. You give me what I want rather than the other way around. That so
Interesting.
mental health for now. If ganon, tapos una pag nabibisi na yung owner. As a puppy, nagdyan pa excited ka pa na, the
Yeah.
puppy's there. But as the days, weeks go by, months go by,
Yeah,
you're,
nababago rin sila.
naiba na yung schedule mo.
Yeah.
Now that puppy grew up already thinking, hey, this is not our schedule, then nasa stress na sila.
Oh,
So
okay.
it plays a different thing naman on their mindset. And what most people don't know, dogs especially, they're built on a schedule. So once you already set that schedule, breakfast is this time, we walk
right.
at this time. So you build that as a puppy. And then all of a sudden you got so
Stop.
busy and then you don't follow that schedule, then they're stressed.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's where most owners make the
Sometimes-
mistakes.
That's when I find my chinelas is sira.
Yes,
Or
they
my
they
shoes.
They're looking-
they go
just looking for
they
you.
will try to get the attention back.
There you go.
They
Yeah.
won't eat. They won't eat. They'll feel they look sick, but they're not.
They're not. Yeah.
So
In
yeah.
short, I guess I'd say that in the almost 50 years I've had a dog, even if the care for animals had evolved, now you see them in strollers. They have more strollers
Yeah,
than an
what
actual
can you say
baby.
about that? Tama po ba yun?
Yeah,
Na may
but-
nasa stroller, tapos naka-pampers pa, kulang na lang, meron siyang, kumisa pa, nakasud pa sila ng bib, and then
Yes.
they dress it up. They
Yeah.
look so cute, pero
I have
overdo na
nothing
ba yun?
against that.
Yeah.
Except that I want to promote also that as humans, we let the dog be a dog.
That's true.
Right.
Because sometimes, for example,
Thank you for saying that because I see some dogs dressed like a ballerina.
and it's,
It's
not
cute.
Halloween.
It's cute.
It's not Halloween.
It is cute.
And
It's
you
cute.
know what?
And
Sometimes
being commercialized na rin, no?
right.
Pag-
And as Doc Ken said, if we baby them so much and then all of a sudden stop, carrying them because we got busy, the dog forgot it's a dog,
Yeah.
right? And we call that they become humanized.
They're
Parang
humanized.
humanized.
yes.
So
Yeah.
they kind of look for you, forgot it's a dog, and you actually bring in more medical problems. Imagine a dog, for instance,
Really?
if you have a Yorkshire or a Chihuahua, a small dog that you always carry,
Right. Like a
and
baby.
then like a baby, it sleeps in your bed in the house. You carry all around kasi ang gaang niya eh. Then when you go to the mall, which is an actual opportunity for the pet to walk, right? Imbis na i-walk mo siya, binili mo siya ng stroller. Pero ikaw nag-walk. Tinutulak mo yan, binili mo siya. The onset of osteoarthritis is gonna be sooner.
Yeah.
Oh.
The lack of
Yes,
exercise.
The lack of
yes.
exercise.
Because they're just
And it
imagine.
may not be
if-
like that already,
Yeah,
no?
just
From
imagine
other
if you're
diseases.
a 20, 30-year-old human and at 20 years old, naka-wheelchair ka na, even if you can walk,
That's right.
you're not getting any exercise. So it's not really about the me getting
Caring.
bothered about the vanity of it, but it has medical implications.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as if you're gonna walk in the mall for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Chances
Yeah.
are you're gonna walk for like 30 minutes and then there's coffee. You're gonna.
Right.
I mean, the malls are open to pets.
No.
Except
Yes,
we're
it
bringing
is,
them there in a stroller. I get the diaper.
Yeah, the diaper,
In consideration to other humans,
correct.
I had this instance. I was gonna fit a pair of shoes in ATC, where you fit the shoe, the chair where you fit in the shoe, it fits one person, and there was a Pomeranian. And the owner, no matter how I'm giving clues na I'm gonna fit, does not want to remove the Pomeranian on top of the chair. So I ended up fitting the shoe standing up. So entitled na.
Oh.
No? And you know what? happened? I did not call the attention of the owner and say, "Na, I'm gonna feed the bear. Can I sit?"
Mm-mm.
No, I did not do that because I'm afraid the owner will think, "Oh, she hates pets."
Mm.
Because you know how people can
Get
be.
judged for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
but
yes.
actually, and the cancel culture, maka-cancel ako. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to feed this. But I hope people understand that you're taking so much away from a pet by carrying it all the
Yeah, all
time
the time.
and
Yeah.
humanizing it. And it's not a human.
So,
And it's not healthy anymore for the animal.
It
Like
is
you
not.
just said,
Yeah,
Ina?
they're gonna have a difficulty letting go of you.
that's right.
Yeah.
No, they get scared. As Dr. Ken said, you have to establish that you're the master, you're the
hierarchy,
leader.
yes.
And
yes.
so when
Leader,
the time
yes.
comes that the pet is in its final stage,
Yeah.
you just whisper to the ear, I love you, I am okay.
Mm.
Because you're the master. But if the pet feels like it's the head of the family, then it does not want to cross the rainbow bridge.
Yes.
Right? So you're gonna end up caring for the dog
That is
for a
right.
long time, even if it's suffering. Because it's hindi siya makalet go sa'yo eh. So establish that you're the head, you're the dog. That does not lessen the love you have for the pet.
So two
Yeah.
things. People might go hating on us and say, but I want that stroller. Or
Buy
for
the
the
stroller.
manufacturers of these strollers,
Yes.
why are
It's
you
being
impeding our business?
commercialized already.
Yeah, but you know what I
Do whatever
say?
you do.
Buy
Do,
the
yeah.
stroller because
Mm.
if the pet is tired,
can
then use
put
the
it.
stroller like a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What,
Just
I,
like a
what I'm
kid,
seeing
yes.
Oh,
is in
kasi
the
ano na
mall,
yung small
the
ones,
kids
no?
are
Yes.
walking.
Mm.
And in the stroller is the pet. and and the toddler is walking. So I mean, ako, when my kids were smaller, of course the stroller's there.
Mm.
But you want them to walk, right?
Yes,
Because
yes.
I want to tire my kids so they sleep.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a
And I have
reason
free
also.
time.
That is right.
I
Same
think-
thing also with the
Yes.
pet animals.
So if
right?
we
Yes,
can
same.
apply
It's the
the same principle to our kids, or I feel kasi sometimes yung owners mas ini-spoil pa yung dog kesa sa anak.
Correct.
Ah.
So I
Yes.
sometimes I'm confused, is that really love when you spoil, 'di ba? Sa
Yes.
kids kasi kaya mo siya gaganunin kasi mahal mo siya eh.
Oh, mahal
Kaya mo
yung
siya
bili mo sa
papaganon,
pet na yun.
'di ba?
Yes.
Mahal yung pet
That
na yun.
too.
Mahal ang cost. Mahal ang pagbili.
Minsan
Yeah.
yung mag-asawa pa mag-aaway about the dog. 'Di ba?
Oh,
yeah.
Pagalitan yung si Snowy, whatever the name is. Pagalitan, aso yan.
So interesting.
Okay, yung mga ganon. So, the principle there is we have to care for our pets in as much as we care for our kids. We don't want
Yeah.
our kids spoiled.
Yes,
Mm.
that's
Do we
right.
Right.
really want, di ba?
Oh.
Nobody
Definitely not,
wants
yeah.
to raise a spoiled kid.
That's
So
right.
do you really want a spoiled dog?
Dog, yes.
Yeah,
You
that's
don't. So the love has to be equal. Love is love.
Love is love. Let
Love
them
is
be.
love.
Exactly applies to that even
It
for the
is.
other
Love is love.
sector
Yes,
of
It doesn't have to be
society.
in
I know.
humans only,
Right.
but also to
Doesn't have to be with a.
Buy the
I don't
stroller.
want to say anybody. I don't want to be politically
Yes.
incorrect,
Yes.
but I
Yeah.
agree with that. Let dogs be dogs, let kids be kids.
Yeah, buy the stroller,
Yeah.
but let the dog walk also.
That's true. You know what?
Not
My
too much.
kids have 3 boys. And these 3 boys of ours, when we go down in a park, we just tell them to run. Run free.
Yes, yes, yes.
And then when they go back and we know they're tired,
Tired.
that will be the best sleep
Yes.
Right.
we will have.
It's the
Because,
same
Like
thing.
dogs.
right,
Yeah.
like dogs. Like dogs.
That's why we
like
should
that.
actually encourage, hopefully, I mean, we want sana na there will be like more dog parks, like what we see in the
Yeah,
States
yeah.
and all that, you know,
Yeah.
to be able to just let the dogs be dogs.
Yeah, I think there is this
Dog
society
parks.
who handles that kind of activities for the pets.
Yes.
There is this one big yard
Yeah.
for letting all these pets, no,
Yeah.
free and walk and run and bark.
Yeah.
Right.
Anytime they want.
Yes.
Okay.
We
yeah.
should have more of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Less strollers.
Less
No, I'm kidding.
strollers.
You can still buy those strollers if you want.
No, we are not against it,
No.
but do it with the right purpose.
Correct.
About bringing this pet inside the mall, for example, in church. Sometimes iniiwan pa nga nila sa labas ng church
Right.
kasi may church na talagang ayaw ipasok ang pets. How would we make, kasi most of the time, meron kasi mga requirements ng other mall that they check if they allow pets as long as you bring the
Vaccination
vaccination
card. Yeah.
Yeah. how sure are we that these, pets, some of the malls, no, they don't do that. They don't do and check
Yeah.
if they're handling this check card, the vaccination card of their pets. Now, my question is, how would you attest or verify na talagang yun nga talaga yung kanilang vaccination card? And how would you take also for other pet owners who don't let their pets vaccinated?
Uh, Going to the other question of how will we know,
Mm-hmm.
the only best way to know if that's that dog is through a microchip, because dogs,
There is a
each
microchip
dog
now.
will
Yeah.
look exactly
They look the
alike.
same.
How far are
Right.
we in microchipping for
Well,
I'd say
we
in our country?
20% of the
Yeah.
population.
Oh, really?
Still,
Yeah.
it still
20,
Is
is
it
a small.
expensive?
yeah.
It is
Not.
not.
It's
It's
not.
not. That's
When
why
it
So
first came
sometimes it's
in,
even free.
when it
Oh.
first came in around 2004 or
Mm.
2005, we were one of the first clinics to actually have
Oh,
the
really?
microchipping.
For
that-
now, the reliable parameter would be to just look at the vaccination card. If
Yeah.
there's the sticker there,
So-
the date and the signature.
Yeah, let's go back to the
That's it.
microchip. Once you put that microchip inside, this, of course, under the
It's
skin of their
here at the back.
Yeah.
Mm.
And how do we check it?
There's
a
There's
scanner.
There's a scanner.
The scanner is
Okay.
also not
Right.
expensive.
Not
If
expensive
you can buy
anymore.
it for like less than 1,000. So if
I
the
did
mall
not
has
know.
that,
Just
it's
scan
like a
it.
barcode na grocery item.
Oh,
Yeah.
And
really?
then
QR
yes,
code.
then the
Oh,
number
Yeah.
appears.
It's a
Familiarize
unique
it.
number worldwide. So each pet has that unique number anywhere in the
Kala
world.
ko mahal
So,
yan.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not.
Oh, for
it's
Back
not
then
at all
it was a
Back
little
then it
bit,
was.
but
But now
now
it's
it's
not.
nice. So it's really cheap now. Yeah, you can easily get that.
If you,
you know.
for the actual microchip.
Yeah.
But this is for identification. Now, for in terms of the vaccination card, well, you know now how it is when it was during the pandemic. They were strict also with us. We should bring our vaccination cards as well for COVID vaccines, right? But because after that became lenient again, nobody checks them anymore. So it also trickled down to the same thing to the
Yeah.
pets. The malls or other establishments don't check already for the vaccination cards. But I guess most, or if not all, of the people who come in to the malls do have their pets vaccinated. I don't think I don't know. Do you think anybody would go to the mall? I mean, they love their dog so much they'll bring it to the mall,
And it's not.
and it's not vaccinated.
Chances are.
Chances are it is vaccinated.
But I did not notice, no? Did mall authorities or security, when you would come in with your dog, did they check on the dogs?
Not
'Cause
all
I
malls.
Not all malls.
Not
Not
all.
all.
Not all.
So again,
Mostly
that's-
ikaw ikaw ang check na yung vax card
But-
mo.
Yeah.
But we tell our clients
To just bring.
wherever you go, as long as you're in the public, bring the vaccination card. You'll never know if there will be somebody who will ask from you.
Of course.
Then at least you have it
Yeah.
with you. Or better yet, just take a photo. A picture of it, then it's
Put
in
it
your
on
phone.
file,
Yeah,
of course.
I think
they
also
can just screen
more
it.
importantly, it's best that we remind our listeners, even if it's a very cute dog, don't touch the dog if
Yeah.
it's not yours.
Yeah.
Oh.
So even if
that's
it's
even in the
some
mall.
people would
No.
do this with their hand. Or,
Yeah.
If
Or
it's not your dog, don't go.
Before
Don't.
you even do that, ask the owner,
owner.
can I touch
Mm.
your dog?
Yeah, it's more safer.
Kasi when you get bitten, then you're mad. But it's not your dog.
It's
in
the same
first
way
place.
as
Why are you gonna
it's
touch
the same way as actually having a cute baby. You see a very cute baby, you don't go touching the baby immediately,
baka
right?
mausog yung anak ko.
Diba? So you actually ask the mom or
Same,
no, it's the
right.
same.
The same. So it
you-
has to be
you
the
ask
same
permission first.
courtesy.
It just does go touching.
Privacy din niya yan.
Right.
Oo,
Yes.
tama.
Yeah. It may be cute, but if
That's
you want to
right.
touch to go that far, you have to ask the owner. Yes.
And understanding that pet is also the ward of that family or
Correct.
that parent
Yes.
in that hierarchy.
So more malls have to implement that, the checking of cars.
Cards.
Yeah.
Speaking of chips, since you mentioned while ago there are 20%
Very
only
less. Yeah, very
Yeah.
few.
Currently,
I mean,
oh.
it's
and maybe some of
relatively
them
less.
are through, vaccination injection.
Yes.
How, since maybe siguro maliit pa lang yung rate, how could we, improve the rate of the compliance of vaccinations among small animals?
Yeah. Do you know the best way? If it's gonna be adopted by the LGUs.
Yeah.
Aren't they? What's our LGU? Knock knock LGU. What are they doing
Well,
currently?
it's not mandatory. Microchip is
Mm.
not.
Yeah.
And our LGUs have vaccines, right? The
Right.
Yeah.
free
Yes, they
rabies
have
vaccine.
free vaccines.
They have a
Yeah.
budget for it.
Papakuna,
And,
They
And
have
I
a
heard
budget.
they go house to house pa.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
Mm.
sad part
Continued pa
is
rin ba
Yeah,
hanggang ngayon?
continuous yun.
continuous.
The sad part is I also don't know why. It's free. All you have to do is to bring your dog to the city vet.
Yeah.
Filipinos still don't go.
Yeah, yun yung problem
Yes.
dun, no? So
Yeah.
how well, aside from what we are doing right now, and I hope that
Yeah.
the public will
Listeners.
be aware of this and encourage, maybe if you are listening right now, you would encourage your neighbors, your other members of the families or relatives there to let your pets vaccinated.
Yes.
Pero do you think that would be enough?
LGU.
We need,
so.
we need also
Mm.
more big projects.
I think it's a
Yeah.
good start. So depending on the
Mhm.
LGU, how they
Yeah, and
The
you
budget
know,
launch these programs,
right.
if it's gonna be like an information dissemination that is national.
Mm.
You know, I'm talking about like there are billboards
Right.
Yes.
saying that this is the law. Something. I mean,
Right.
something
Yeah,
fun.
They don't know
I
it.
think that
Not
would
not
be-
persecutory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not
Not
punitive.
persecutory.
Not
Yeah.
scare tactic.
Yes,
Yeah.
not scare
But
tactic. Yes.
you know, you're driving, it's there.
Mm.
In the mall, it's
Yeah.
in the hotel lobbies.
Yes.
A gentle nudge on
Yes,
Yeah.
if you just
them.
tell
Yeah.
them na, you know, microchip is
I
this.
remember when I was working at DOH, they have these promotional materials. They have these posters, brochures, and videos. They
Yes,
make
yeah.
videos, the effect of
Rabies.
rabies
Yeah.
for a person who got bitten.
Yes.
No? And then yung effect niya, yung
It's
pasyente
scary.
na talagang
Yes.
iba yung dating,
Yes.
no?
It's a
So I
disturbing.
don't know.
Disturbing
yeah,
video.
I do
Yes.
not know if that would be effective, and I think wala nang masyado
It's a scare
disseminate
tactic.
ang DOH on
Yeah.
that. So
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
maybe we can do something about it.
Personally, well, I think the government is doing the best it can, considering if we're talking about animals as a whole, of course, it's under the Department of Agriculture. BAI is under the DA.
Yes.
And the DA is already handling so much. You have bird flu, you have ASF.
ASF. Yeah.
Before ASF, there was FMD.
Yeah,
So,
there's
I mean,
a lot.
there are a
Put them
lot
out.
of things happening in our animals, not just for the pets. So, the rabies, instead, it can actually pick up or gain ground. It takes a step back because now we have to focus on our poultry
Right.
industry, our
Right.
swine industry, because of course we need
Because
food.
of food security.
Yeah,
Yeah.
food security.
Yes.
So, rabies, it comes and goes. The plan is
Right.
there. I've seen the plans. It's good. Except that I don't think lang, the full scale is being applied. Understandably,
Yes.
undermanned and everything else. The
Yeah,
budget
yeah,
also
That's right.
is hindi nakokompleto.
Oh.
But from what I've seen, the one thing that most people really don't focus on are the strays. Because what I don't
the
get,
strays,
there is a project under DA or in BAI that we want, as a whole, the Philippines to be out of the list for rabies countries.
Yeah, that is our main goal, right?
2030. So that 2030 is a
2030,
few
6
years
years
from
from
now.
now.
6 years from now.
What are the chances of actually us hitting zero rabies by 2030? And even if that most of us already here in the urban areas especially are vaccinating all our pets, but still our rabies cases are still,
still
Hi.
growing? Yeah.
ongoing.
Mm.
Most likely it's coming from the strays. So
Yeah.
I think we have to focus, or the government or the LGUs, NGOs
Private
also,
sector also.
has to put more focus on these strays.
Yes.
Once we take hold or control them, then I am sure that the rabies cases
hit
will go down.
That target in
Yeah.
2030.
Yes.
And I think the pet owners also must have a big role on this, right? So, kasi even if you say stray dogs, meron dapat may nagmamayari na rin nun eh.
Yeah, pinabayaan lang.
pinapabayaan
Pinabayaan.
lang. Pinabayaan
Yes, that's
lang.
right.
Oo.
And another thing is dogs, where they stay, hindi rin safe yung environment. Alam mo naman, lalo na sa mga slum areas. And,
Yeah.
you know. So, I think the government will make a big stride on this. And I think you as an expert on this field, no, and also us in the industry, no, how would we able to contribute on this campaign to increase the compliance of vaccination? Okay, so let's go into this topic na. No? Anong
Yeah.
role na ngayon ng industry? Like you
Yes.
and as an expert,
Let
because
me
I know.
start with that example, Doktora, kasi the government, let's give credit where credit is due naman,
Right.
that
Yeah,
they are
they're
really
doing
having
their
these
best,
programs
yeah.
and
Yes.
knocking on your doors, turning on their megaphones
Yes.
and telling you, may
Yeah.
bakuna dito,
Yes.
libre.
Yeah.
Yes.
But looking back about 20, maybe 25 years ago, when I had a golden retriever who
Yeah.
got sick,
Mm-hmm.
and then I brought it to the veterinary clinic, and the doctor said, let's do a blood test.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time. I was very young back then. Pwede pala yun.
Okay.
O sige, kukunin natin, but you have to wait. Bakit, Doc? Kasi yung ilalagay, itetest namin, pang tao.
Yes.
Yeah.
Back
At that
That was
time
then.
then.
pa.
That was
Yeah,
at
at that
25
time pa,
years
yeah.
ago,
Back
maybe
then,
longer.
yes. Yeah.
Then said they have to wait. Wala bang pang ano? Pang aso? Back then, wala. Dapat inaano lang namin, ina-adjust namin.
Yeah.
So, with that, I know that the government is trying hard and the industry is also trying to catch up. But there's a segment in our society that says, may mo palang mga ganong diagnostics
Yes.
sa aso. Akala ko sa akin lang yun, pagkukunin yung cholesterol
Yes.
ko.
Yes.
Ngayon, aso na kasapit.
Nung isang buwan, may gout ako, mataas uric acid mo. So,
Oo.
meron
Correct,
pala
correct.
siya.
There-
So, how do we now help the government as well as the industry
Yes.
to make people understand that?
I think it's more of information dissemination. Most people still do get surprised when we actually get we can test for this. We just get blood, we can test for that,
Oh.
and we still do get surprised faces. Meron pala for and then some of them, they know that there's a blood test, but they thought it was in the human lab, like what we used to do
Yes.
back decades ago.
Right.
But now it's just right in the clinic.
Nandun na.
You can
Oo.
run it in the clinic already.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pang pet mo.
Pang pet. The good part with the test, the machines that we have, the test kits, you can just get a small amount of blood because you cannot get the same amount of blood from a human and expect you get it from a chihuahua. Right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
You run a chem from a human, you need like 3 mLs worth of blood.
That's right.
But getting it from a chihuahua, a 3 ml, that's quite
Yeah.
a lot. So you cannot just get that much.
Right.
At least now with the new machines that are coming in, even less, I would say 0.7 ml you can run already, CBC and chem already. So yeah, the machines are a big help. The government, that's another thing. I think the best thing that they can actually help on our end as also for the owners is information dissemination, that there are tests
Yeah.
available.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clinics can run them already.
Yeah, to refer to private clinics.
Yes, to
because
refer
the
to
government
private. They
is not
don't.
complete.
Yeah.
They're
So
not complete.
if I go to a government clinic that takes care of pets, or for some reason there would be a clinic like that in a local government unit, they would have these diagnostic machines, or they would also
Wala.
refer it to
Most
wala.
likely.
They will
not.
refer to private.
To private
Wala.
pa rin. Oo,
Right.
oo.
I think because it's also not their specialization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're a city vet, you handle everything from livestock, the
Yes.
ESF,
And as
the
you said,
bird
it's
flu.
food security
Oh,
is
and
that's
priority.
priority.
Yeah,
Oh.
so
Yes.
the government's not gonna invest in all of this.
Yeah.
They will refer
So,
because there's
yeah.
another sector.
They're
that
only
does-
meant there to regulate.
Yes.
Yeah.
To regulate.
So
But,
should the government invest? I mean, that was a silly question. Sounds obvious to me.
Yeah, as for
I don't know.
I've been in Bai din, I asked if they
Yeah.
are regulating or do they have some kind of monitoring this. I don't think they put up a public clinics for veterinary. Wala masyado.
Wala.
So they only regulate. But
Yes.
as far as small animals clinic, under din pa rin ba yun? Sila din pa nagre-register?
We
Yes.
get a permit from
Okay.
BAI.
Alright.
All clinics should
All
actually
clinics
get
should get.
a BAI certificate
Mhm.
to
Well, so
function,
Operate.
to
yeah, in
operate.
that case, if
Pure
if
animals.
limited lang yung nasa regulation lang ang scope ni government.
Yeah.
So how would now for example lang kasi lumalabas na ngayon yung screening test na ngayon sa mga animals
Yeah.
and so forth. And the IVD veterinary industries are now popping up.
Mm.
So how do you think would the private clinics and the IVD sales force or sales industries
Yeah.
collaborate to increase this awareness program of encouraging the
Or,
public
Doctor,
to
in other words, how can our industry knock on the door of government and say, look, we gotta catch up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a private sector.
Mhm.
No wonder the public is thinking that
Mhm.
if
Yes.
I bring my dog for a diagnostic test, mayaman yan. Kasi may ganun.
Yeah.
Yung
Yeah.
iba, masakit ang tiyan,
Precisely.
bigyan mo ng
Yan, yan.
saging yung aso.
Yeah.
Diretso na
Yes.
sila doon. So,
Yeah.
how do we, aside from information dissemination and aside from knocking on the door of government, how can we in the industry help out?
The way I see our system is for the Philippines, even though that the first hit on ASF already happened pre-pandemic,
Yeah.
then it's happening again. And from what I hear from our colleagues, it's worse than the first time.
Wow.
So, so of course, government will always focus on food security. So, the best that they can really do on the government's end is the regulation lang of the clinics. So, how I analyze it is more of like how government deals with the other projects that they have, like say the airports. Of course, the government doesn't have money to actually fix NAIA, or in this case, SMC is building Bulacan
Right.
airport through the private industry, right?
Public-private
Yeah, the
partnerships, yeah.
PPP
Sector.
projects that they have.
Yeah.
So I think if there is a way that the private sector can lead with the guidance of these are the projects ng government. Where can the private sector help?
Yeah.
Because
That's the only way.
the government needs help. Most of
agree.
these projects
I
are
agree.
good.
Yeah.
Except that they cannot move on because one, they're short staffed. Their staff will actually go to
Yeah.
these places that
Yes,
needs
that's right,
it
that's
most,
right. That's
and the
true.
money goes there also. So it won't go through. So where if the private industry can work with the government, I don't know how it will come
How
out.
Yes,
could we
yes.
But
spearhead
to
it?
yeah, right, to
And let
collab.
also this may be the health industry. I think we could do. What we can do is that the accessibility
Yes.
of the testing, for example.
Yes.
Just let public be aware that we have this kind of diagnostic test
Yes.
that the only one, yun nga lang kasi ang limitations only the private can access on that, right?
Yes.
So not in any government facilities can
Yeah.
provide it because
Right.
some of the tests are very expensive.
Right.
So maybe what we can do is that show them the access, give them the
Yes.
access of these diagnostics. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
yun lang, kailangan lang natin silang
Tingin
to
ko
be
rin,
aware.
Doktora.
And of
Would
course,
be making
education
it-
as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the challenge is how to make it accessible in rural areas.
Yun.
That's the most
But
important.
That's- yeah,
what
yeah,
I've
yeah, that's
seen
right.
happening is, for instance, in our area, I wouldn't say it's rural.
Not anymore.
Parang
Near
pa-
suburban na.
Suburban.
Oo,
Suburban
But,
na.
ako, being an older clinic, what I did was I have a complete setup of X-ray and the
Diagnostics, yeah.
chemistry
Right.
Yes.
and all that. So what I did was to reach out. I identified the clinics in my city. I reached out to each one and told them because they don't have one.
Yes.
I told them they can run using mine.
Because we're the
That's
only
what I
ones
did.
we have that
Oh.
have.
Yeah, without
okay.
getting their patients, of
Yeah.
course.
Okay. So
so
parang send
Yeah,
out.
yeah, because
To
I
us.
feel
Yes.
I
Right.
feel that to establish a relationship with younger veterinarians. Not only that, and number two, because I want pet owners to have faster results.
Yes.
Because what happens is if they're gonna send it elsewhere, no, or to a human lab,
Right.
the results take time.
Mhm.
With the machines I have, in
Like
10,
10
15
minutes,
minutes,
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
out.
that's
And then I
true.
just click, it's emailed. I
Oh,
mean,
how
Right.
nice of
Yeah.
you, Doctora, to
Yeah.
hear about
so,
that.
and I
So you
don't,
have clinics, right? So
there
you're
are
managing
5
those.
around me.
Yeah. And the name of the clinic, by the way, what's this?
The Arc.
The Arc.
The
The
Arc.
Veterinary
The Arc.
clinic. Then I
Ang
just
ganda.
allow the clinics around me to, they use my x-ray.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oo.
Oh,
And they
that's
use my
nice.
x-ray. They
They
run
send the blood.
labs.
I think veterinarians around the country should know this, dear veterinarians,
Yes.
Yeah.
na Filipinos, even if you're listening in other countries who has the same
Yes.
access
Mhm.
or the lack of it,
Lack of.
then you could also do that. And if you are also as complete as the facilities of
Share.
Dr.
Share.
Ken and Chris, share.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Share.
share it.
Share, that's how we help.
What's happening, what I notice is if they're gonna wait for the result, which takes
The next day.
the owner's gonna be informed of the results the following
The following
day.
day.
Yes.
So, and I can tell you the result in 10 minutes because
That's right.
there's Viber and email.
Yes, emails,
And our system is connected to the net.
yeah.
So
you can do it
what
online.
happens
Online.
is even before the patient's back to the clinic
They
where they came
have
from,
result.
Right.
they went hit by car, went to a clinic 2 kilometers away from me. They don't have an X-ray, no blood work. They come to me, we run it.
Right.
Even before pa siya makabalik dun sa vet niya,
There's a result.
nandun na yung result.
And then I
So
result.
I
So
think
they don't
that's,
have to wait for
yeah.
how many days?
Yeah. And
Correct.
they don't have to do
Yeah.
the guesswork of
No.
decades
guesswork.
ago
And
when
then
That's
after
nagkasakit
a
ang
while,
bata, ang aso.
I'm pretty sure these clinics, they will also buy their own.
Yeah.
But for the time being that they cannot or they won't,
Yeah.
or it's not a
They can
priority
refer
to
it.
them, I'll take it.
Don't worry, we will put the links, if you don't mind, the
Yes.
links of Dr.
Yes.
Ken and
Ken.
Chris.
Yes.
Yeah, that is right.
For our
yeah.
And,
Facebook
you know,
page.
marami natin natututunan na ngayon dito. And if you want to learn more from them, drop them a line. And
Yes.
I'm very
Yes.
sure the way we're asking them, you will also get the same great answers.
Yes. And one good news there is that we are improving, no, our diagnostic accessibility.
Yes.
Oo.
Yes.
Oo.
So in that way, tama naman si Dr. Chris, no? If you don't have yet the facilities, you can still send out, no?
Yeah,
To
you can-
any clinic, no?
Yeah.
Aside from the art as well.
Yeah.
Pwede niyong i-refer din ang mga
Sa ARC,
diagnostic.
yung kanilang pangalan ng kanilang facility. and
Yes,
clinic.
that is right.
Now, this is also for people who are pet owners who is hearing this for the first time na may diagnostics din ng inyong aso,
Yes,
pusa,
yeah.
or other pets. Kasi yung iba hindi pa rin alam yan eh.
Yeah.
Parang tao, bago mo sabihin, operahan kita sa...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kailangan mo pa rin ay
Run
screening
every-
test.
Oo, di ba?
Yeah.
Screening, yes,
Oo.
that's right.
That
Yeah.
is
Kailangan
That's
nating
right.
paduguin dahil ng taas
Yeah.
ng uric acid mo. No?
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
to do the
You
diagnosis
know, the
first ng guesswork.
availability of diagnostic tests and machines in the Philippines elevated the level of Filipino veterinary practice.
Worldwide.
Because we
Dapat
started
lang, yeah.
practicing in small animal 25 years ago. And would you believe when we graduated from UP, there is no single company who'd sell an X-ray or a CBC machine, a chemistry machine.
Yes,
Specific
So
for a
what
vet.
we do, what we do before, we wait for the wee hours kasi sisingit kami sa
Sa mga
human.
human.
hospital.
And then you
Oh.
transpose the
Okay,
results?
Yes.
Or what do you call it? Is that the right term?
Yes.
Transpose
Yeah,
the
you sort
results?
of kind of, na lang, no? Find the how to interpret
Talaga
it.
Kumbaga
Pero-
sa music, iba yung octave
pero ano
nung
ka,
di ba?
talagang tatsyempo
Yes,
ka
oo.
ng hindi na matao kasi ayaw din nila na mareklamo sila na ginagamit
Ginagamit
din
yun.
sa aso. Of
Oo.
course, alam naman natin
Yes.
there's a disinfection
That's right,
whatsoever.
right,
Pero
yeah.
other people will still feel bad pagka may animals na
Na
But then,
magkasabay.
that was a big thing, di ba? Kasi
Yeah.
hindi pa naman ganun yung tingin sa mga pets.
Ah, ah.
Pero ngayon siguro, pag nagreklamo ka na, bakit may aso dyan? O, tanggalin yung tao. At mas importante na yung aso.
Okay.
And I'm hearing this with pioneers, from pioneers.
Pang pioneers talaga
From pioneers.
sila.
They're not
Yeah.
doing the... Alam
That's
nila
right.
yung nangyari. So,
So,
pioneers.
now that was way back how
Back
many
then,
years,
yes.
ano?
Oo.
Pero ngayon kasi nag-improve na.
Yes.
Okay?
It is
Medyo,
easier.
yeah. And it is also a good opportunity for our young vets to take this opportunity to explore, no, the
Yes.
technology.
Yes.
Ngayon, ang question is that, how can you address, no, yung mga misconceptions, lalo na sa mga pet owners, pag sinabing diagnostic test? Parang, ang mahal naman. Kung minsan mas mahal pa nga daw
Well,
sa...
I
Yeah.
do get that
Yeah.
reaction.
Yeah.
And I address that head on by saying, mas mahal pag inumpisahan na nating gamutin yan kasi number one,
Yeah.
hindi ko gagamutin yan. So, di ba? Kasi wala akong
There's no
There's no diagnostic
Ang
tool.
doktor
Yeah.
po hindi manghuhula.
Oo.
No?
Yes,
And,
hindi
ano,
manghuhula.
Mas mapapamahal ka kasi lilipat ka na naman ng vet. Hahanap ka na naman, no? So, mas mapapamahal ka nun. You'll waste time, you'll waste energy and money jumping from vet to vet. And number two, some owners would say kasi na, Dok, hindi okay lang kahit na hindi natin alam kung may blood parasite siya. Pwede mo na makita yun
Usually yung
Your
presumptive
CBC,
That's right.
diagnosis.
And
Yeah.
with, the test kits, di ba? Pwede mo na makita. Ang sasabihin din na, mukha namang yun yung sakit niya, gamutin na. So what I do literally is, okay, assuming that I will treat without knowing. If I will at all allow that, which I won't, I'm gonna tell them, this is how much you're gonna spend. Do you wanna spend this much? Tas negative siya.
Yeah.
Oftentimes that works. No?
Really?
Tapos, oo nga, Dok, no, ang mahal pala. Paano nga kung negative siya? Exactly. You want me to treat na dog dengue siya, pero hindi ko alam. Diba? Pati sana kung yung ibibigay mo lang, mga dahon-dahon.
That's right.
The downside now kasi is when we see the diseases now, it's not textbook.
Yeah.
A lot are
Yeah.
asymptomatic. It's the same as our
Really?
COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
You cannot just take a look.
Right.
Oh, that's
It
yan ang
doesn't
sakit niya.
work.
No, sometimes it's just fever and then that's it. Ayaw kumain. It could be anything
Right.
under the sun.
That's
Yes.
true.
So now we have to find out
Yeah.
what's the disease that's causing the inappetence. Why ayaw niyang kumain? Why machited siya? Why tulog siya ng
Yeah,
tulog?
that
We
is
have
why
to
you
find
need
out.
this very
We
specific
need those
diagnostic
labs.
tools.
Yes.
And I also add naman na spend on the diagnostics. Anyway, kung halimbawa positive, yung kinakatakutan mo nangyari na positive, you are not obliged to have it treated.
Yeah.
But me treating before I diagnose, it's not gonna happen.
That's right.
You can
That's right.
still say no. It's not as if I'm gonna tie you in your chair.
I'm pretty sure it applies to all doctors, both
Yeah,
human
both
and
human and
animals.
animals. That's right.
What's the oath? Do no harm.
Do no harm.
Diba?
Don't
That's,
touch
that's
it.
the Hippocratic
Precisely.
oath,
It's the
right?
same-
That's right. That's
Same
right.
principle also with the
Same.
animals.
The same.
And
And-
I hope we'll have more listener vets who will also have that impression na oo nga no, wag ako pumayag.
Yes.
Kasi if you're a younger doctor,
You'll
give in.
minsan you'll give in
No,
na
man.
parang hindi na Dok, kasi bantay ko lang naman yan dun para may tumatakol.
Matuto po kayo sa bagot, doktor po ako, hindi po ako albularyo.
Gamutin mo na, di ba? Minsan yung vet,
Oo.
baka papayag. So, a way of elevating your practice is to really do your diagnostics.
Elevate your
What
practice.
sets you apart.
That's right.
That's why
That's right.
you are licensed.
That is
You do
right.
not guess.
That's right.
Otherwise, ako, pagbalik rin mo, huhulaan mo naman pala, mag-google na
That's
lang.
right.
Yeah.
May
Yeah.
check, tumiming pa ako ng diagnosis.
Dapat accountable
di ba?
yung
Yeah.
vet, no? Oo.
And yun yung sabi ni Doc Ken, it's good that you mentioned it. The diseases are evolving. Dati, the symptoms are
Precisely,
Classic.
yeah.
Classic science.
early
Textbook.
diagnosis,
Yeah.
bleeding sa nose.
Yung mga emerging diseases, no?
We call that dog dengue, but it's ehrlichiosis. The symptoms are classic. Ngayon, walang symptom. So, automatic kami talaga nagte-test kit.
And so how do you find
Positive.
how do you find out?
Yeah.
Diagnosis.
And
Test
if
kits.
a human doctor feels the need for diagnostics, you multiply that by 10 times because your patient does not speak.
Does not
Does not
speak.
speak.
At all.
Precisely.
Yes.
That natumbukan nyo,
Yes.
Dr.
Right,
Chris,
yes.
because they cannot express.
They cannot express.
Ah,
That's
Yeah,
right.
para so maghuhulaan talaga kayo lahat.
Kung magsasalita lang yung
No,
aso.
sometimes-
Sabi ni Doc, CBC, hematology,
Chemistry, yeah.
chemistry.
Yes, yes,
no? Hindi
that
ka
is
nakikinig.
Yeah.
That
But
is
sometimes, it's good that for us,
Yeah.
we really take time to listen to what the owners report. But again, you have to also have behind your mind, not all owners will tell the truth.
Yeah.
Sometimes they will take out some information out there
That's
because
right.
they feel guilty that
Or
they're
ashamed.
ashamed.
Yeah.
So you have to put in that leeway na okay, you listen to
May
their
buffer
report,
ka.
but
Ah.
probably they're
Medyo-
not telling everything.
That's true.
It's
Yeah.
same as in humans also.
That's true.
Medyo
Sometimes
remorseful
Oo.
sila. Ayaw nila
Yes, so you have
magsabi
to
ng totoo.
Hindi ko aminin na kumain ako ng malaking sisig kagabi. So, kaya ganun yung ano mo, di ba?
Yeah,
Kaya
sinabi mo,
ganun yung ano
ganito
mo.
lang.
Kaya ganyan lang. Pero,
Sa aso
Same.
mo, ganun, pinakain mo,
Same.
allergic pala siya,
Oo.
no?
Sabay
Yes,
silang
yes,
kumain,
yes.
di ba?
So you have
nice,
to
no?
have that thing behind. Okay, I give that the owners will not tell everything.
right.
So,
Oo nga naman.
but again, even if going back to your first question, that even if you have all of these diagnostic machines with you,
Yes.
a doctor, regardless if it's a medical doctor or a vet, the crucial part is a clinical eye. Because
Yes.
it's like actually what we used to always say. You may actually have a Ferrari or a Formula One car, but you don't have
You
the
don't have to
skills
drive
To drive it.
to
yeah.
drive
You
it.
just have it.
So you know how to turn on the machines
Yeah.
and run them,
Yeah.
but to analyze the results
Right.
and put it all together and make the diagnosis from that's
Of course.
the clinical
Yeah.
eye.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
where our practice. So that's why for the younger vets, look for a mentor. That's what we keep on saying. Look for a mentor. Look for a friend who's a vet or an older
Don't be
person.
ashamed to ask.
Don't be ashamed to ask.
Don't be ashamed.
For us, we welcome. I mean, we get a lot of messages, texts, or whatever that younger vets ask us. Then we tell our piece.
That's
like,
nice,
okay,
no?
this
That's
is
nice.
if that were my case, this is what I'm gonna do. So no judgment.
Yeah.
If they,
Yeah.
doc, this is what we did.
Yeah.
Okay, well, ito yung mas ginawa mo sana. So,
Yeah.
so they learn.
Right.
So they consult, no? You
They
keep
consult
consulting.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. How nice, no, Sir Joseph? Ang dami
We're
natin
hearing
natutunan
mentorship.
ngayon.
Not
Yeah.
all doctors would
Yeah.
say, ask. No, some doctors say, bring it over and we'll diagnose it and that's
Yes,
it. But
that's
here,
No, we'll share.
it's a different story. They will share.
Precisely.
Now,
Okay.
Doctora, we're keeping them.
Yes.
And I want to ask more.
We
Yeah,
enjoy
we-
actually.
Yeah.
Marami pang nakapilang episodes.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we can still continue this.
Of course.
Yes.
But I'm really so happy and thankful
And with
for
that,
all the
before we
information.
before we say goodbye, we just like to ask your
Yes.
parting shot for the public,
Yeah.
pet owners, ang dami hiningi, ano?
Ah.
Public pet owners and young veterinarians.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
You want to
that's
go ahead?
Yeah, for pet owners, as I've said a while ago, I encourage you to be a responsible pet owner, have your pets vaccinated. If you're not ready for a pet, don't get one.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
No? So it's a commitment of time, resources, and energy.
Yeah.
Now, for younger veterinarians, you are very lucky because technology is kakampi mo.
Yeah.
No, imagine way back when there was none. And all we could do was to read and read and read. So,
And consult.
yes, but now technology is there.
Yeah.
All forms of communication, media, nandyan. No, dati when we're trying to promote responsible pet ownership, we have to, walang cable eh.
Yeah.
So, we had to tie up with networks.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Radio
No, wala pang cable na radio stations.
And this kind of
right.
platform as well.
yeah, but
Yes.
now everything's available.
That's right.
If you use it, you can be really powerful,
Yeah.
Yes.
no, and be good at what you do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mga nag-aaral pa to become veterinarians, this should be inspiring.
Yeah.
My son will hear this.
How about you, Doc Ken?
For the first one, for the public, everybody, regardless if you are a cat person, a dog person, or you don't love animals, just be sure don't touch any animal you don't know.
Yeah.
Because you don't know if they're bringing in a zoonotic disease, rabies, lepto, etc. For the pet owners, be responsible enough to actually vaccinate and tell your friends or whoever to remind them to have their pets vaccinated as well. And then for the young vets, like what we mentioned a while ago, don't be shy to ask, because of course even us, we are not experts in everything, so we also ask other colleagues. So go ahead and ask, you learn more, so that we can, as much as we want to pass on the information to the young vets, they should also pass on the information to their clients as well.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a continuum.
They have that responsibility and that obligation.
Responsibility and
Yes.
accountability.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
For me,
This
yeah.
is an exciting first episode. Now, this,
Yes.
I'm sure we want more, and we're expecting the comment section to be flooded with
Yeah.
a lot of questions.
For our listeners, no, especially our
Naninibago pa tayo.
naninibago
Ng
saan ako
camera,
titingin
eh.
no. I'm really very thankful with Dr. Ken and
Yes.
Dr. Chris Lao with us,
Grateful.
and we learned a lot. And whatever things that we have learned, pass it on, not only among your colleagues, but also to the members of the family, to the community as well, because we have to work hand in hand with this campaign, with this promotion, to keep our country safe from any diseases. And of course, yung goal natin na magkaroon tayo ng zero rabies sa ating bansa.
Yes.
Hey, yan
As-
ang
as-
aking take on.
As for me, I second the motion. So, yun na yun. And on behalf of Dr. Bing Kawano and
Yes.
our fantastic guests,
Yes.
Dr.
Thank you.
Ken and
Thank
Chris
Thank you,
Lao,
Sir Giselle.
we thank you, and
And
we
thank
hope
you.
we can have them again very soon.
Yeah.
This is Sel and with Ma'am Bing
Yeah.
for JARC Academy Radio Channel.
Yes.
But it's One Health JARC Academy Radio
Let's go
Channel.
together.
Oh,
JARC.
One Health JARC Academy Radio
Radio
Channel.
Channel.
We will have more of these episodes very soon. And please keep joining us and send us a line, drop us a line, tell us what you think. Tell us what you think about this episode. And we will create more for you, not just for the JARC Academy, but also for our listening public, because some segments of this will be public. I'm Sel Gaston. Be useful, be kind, and be better every day.
That was an interesting episode. First episode pa lang yan, Mama.
Oo, actually talagang very interesting yung pinag-usapan natin. Dami natin natutunan.
Dami.
Yeah.
We talked about responsible pet ownership.
And of course, animal mental health.
Pero doon muna tayo sa responsible pet ownership, we realized that there are some things that we don't know, like animal
Yes.
freedoms.
Yeah.
Meron palang ganun. Kung meron lang,
Hindi natin alam na meron
Oo.
palang 5
of course,
animal
written for them,
freedom.
not written by them, but written
Yes.
for them. Diba?
Nasa batas naman yun actually.
Oo.
Oo.
Responsible pet ownership, there's plenty that you could learn
Mm.
from. And, you know, to be in accordance with the law and to be compliant with the law also.
Yeah, lalo na if we're looking at the welfare of animal mental health nitong ating mga
Exactly, animal
pet
mental health.
owners, no?
Oo.
So dapat anxious din tayo sa mga mental health ng ating pet animals.
Conscious tayo kasi dapat kung anxious sila, alam din natin,
Of
aware
course,
din
that's
tayo.
why we are here, right?
Oo.
Oo,
Ayoko
yeah.
hindi naman pwede kayong sabay na anxious, di ba? So,
Kasama din doon, Sir Josel, yung vaccination.
Oo,
yung mga
rape.
bagong teknolohiya ng
Like
vaccination.
microchipping, di ba?
Yes,
Na nakikita
diba?
mo na
Ang
may
social
records
naman
na
lang
ng
ng mga aso.
microchipping.
Kung yung mga tao nga, hindi makapag-microchip, aso pa, di ba?
Gusto mo mag-microchip?
Ayoko. Baka mamaya madali ako matagpo kahit nasa CR ako, nakikita nila ako. Kung nasaan ako, di ba? Ayoko nga.
And also referral, screening, and
yes, the
diagnostics.
role of diagnostics, no? To provide accessibility of screening tests sa mga veterinarians natin. Yan.
And we at the JARC Academy, generally at the JARC group, we are conscious of that, and this is our advocacy and responsibility to educate the public, not just our teams, but also educate the public about diagnostics.
And of course,
Yeah.
this is the first significant role that we want to do for the public, no? As we are in the in vitro diagnostic industry, so we are part of it. No? We support whatever the vets now are trying to promote.
Including to tell the local governments that there is a future in the
Yes.
care of animals, not just
Yeah.
poultry, livestock, or about food security,
Yes.
but
Yes.
also our companion animals, because we're an evolving society
Mm-hmm.
in such that we already are more aware
Yeah.
of what our companion
Yan.
animals are undergoing or experiencing.
So not only the new vets, but also the upcoming vets, yung mga bata ngayon na nagustuhan.
Exactly. What do you think the
Kailangan
future
nating
will be like?
dagdagan. Oo,
What do you think it will be like?
if there will be more veterinarians here in the Philippines, no,
Mm.
future natin, we will be more safe. No?
Right.
Magiging healthy ang ating mga animals, and
Mm.
also we can also prevent other spread of the diseases,
Mm-mm.
no, sa humans. And that is our goal, no? Dapat katulad yan, rabies lang, di ba? Ang ganda
Yeah.
natin pinag-usapan natin yun.
Mm.
So we have to get rid of this rabies and at the same time let us try our best, no, to have this zero rabies in this country.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you watched us, if you jump to this conclusion na to, go back, watch it again, and we will have segments. If you're watching this on YouTube, you will see the segments, but I encourage you to watch the whole thing and understand the things that we just learned today.
Yes.
So, on behalf of One Health,
One Health
Dark Academy, Radio Channel, or Jack.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching this. And if you just jump to this conclusion, watch the whole show. And we will have more episodes coming for you in the coming days, weeks, and months.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.